Death does not scare me. Not reaching my fullest potential does. Hey, it's me, your success coach Vera V, and the most productive person you know. If you're a Gen Z looking to reach your fullest potential, then keep listening. In this podcast, you'll learn how you can do it all with 5 time management tricks for busy people. From a creator, entrepreneur, singer, songwriter, actress, and a person with a social life. The list goes on. 3, 2, 1. Launch to success with Vera V. Before we get into it and you learn 5 of my time management tricks, subscribe to my podcast if you haven't already and leave it a review. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, whatever it is. Your feedback is super important to me. First of all, what is time management and what makes it effective? That is quite a personal question, but for me personally, time management is using my time efficiently, reaching my goals, and being present in the moment, enjoying each and every single moment. Which is why, and many people do not know this, but you're about to, time management is essentially about mindset. Because here's the thing. You can learn all the tools and tricks and tips in the world, but if you do not have the right mindset to approach effective time management, you will not manage it effectively. It's as simple as that. Which is why in this podcast, obviously I'll be sharing various values, which if you listen to my previous episode, you know what that is. It is practical tools that you can apply right away, whether you're listening to this while you're getting ready or driving, or maybe you're listening to this with friends. It's like a listening party. I don't know. Let me know though. And also I'll be sharing my key mindset principles regarding time management and how I do manage to get it all done and enjoy every second of it. Before we truly get started though, something I want to say is that you really can do it all. You absolutely can. I'm looking at you right now, dead in the eye, through the camera lens, and I believe in you. Whatever goals you have in life, you do not have to put yourself in a box. In fact, I absolutely hate that. If you're a software engineer, that does not also mean that you can't build rockets in your spare time or be a singer simultaneously or also act in movies. You absolutely can do all those things with effective time management. I mean, I do. I could have easily closed myself off to one box and just been a full-time entrepreneur, full-time creator, and like that is it. But I have so many hobbies and interests, and I partake in all of them. Partake was such a goofy word. I partake in all of them. But truly, I do. And how? With effective time management. Effective time management is what makes me the most productive person you know. Here is my expertise. Who am I and what makes me so productive? Well, first of all, I'm a certified life coach. I've guided over 400 clients to their fullest potential. Primarily, I focus on personal development. So really coaching people there. Goals, habits, whatever it is. And now here are all the things I do in my life and what they mean. I'm a full-time content creator. I do it across pretty much all platforms, but primarily on Instagram. That is my biggest platform with over 105,000 followers, which is crazy. And it's so cool. I love our community. Also YouTube, obviously, and TikTok. And they have different video formats. So I have to read, edit, or create content for them. Especially if that's something that interests you. Being a content creator, what does that mean? Well, first of all, posting daily content. I am very much disciplined about that. I post 1 video per day or 1 post per day, and I post multiple stories per day, which takes me literally hours to create, but I love it so much. And I absolutely love how creative I can be in my work. Now, besides creating all the content, including this podcast that you're listening to, and writing my newsletters, and doing this and doing that, it is also a lot about negotiating and brand partnerships, that whole aspect of it, which essentially, if you're not familiar, brand partnerships are collaboration with a brand that you love and hopefully resonate with. In my humble opinion, I think that's the way that it should be to be a moral person and creator. But to each their own, I guess. So that means emailing brands daily, staying in contact with them, replying to the tens or hundreds of emails that you get every single day, negotiating, creating content for brands with specific outlines. Because usually it's not just like, oh, how can I promote this toothpick? It's like, oh, here's what I want you to say about our toothpick, but do it in your own authentic style, which personally I really love. I love some of my favorite content pieces that I've ever created, especially videos, because that's what I really focus on, are brand collaborations. Also, Luna, the cat, is on the table right now because she just loves our talk about effective time management. If you're watching this in video, she's right here. Luna, say hi. Say hello. Oh, she wants me to pet her. And also being a content creator, interacting with community is very important. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I am there. I am on top of my reply game. I literally read my Instagram DMs every single day, and I get hundreds of them, if not thousands. What also comes with being a creator, this is the last part, is brand events. I feel like amongst many other things, but brand events are super important. Last night, for example, I went to Instagram X VidCon. It was like an Instagram after party after VidCon. super cool event, but it's from 8 p.m. to like 12 a.m., so 4 hours. And brand events, they're not really a necessity, but it is a great way to get to know other creators and also build relationships with brands, which ties into 2 brand partnerships that we just talked about. Secondly, I'm also an entrepreneur. That is my biggest focus right now. Being an entrepreneur, what does that mean? Well, first of all, guiding people. Like I said, I am a certified life coach, and I have my very own online self-improvement club, aka the Growing Together Club, which I absolutely love so very much, with over 100 people in it, passionate about self-improvement as much as I am. We have weekly meetings, they have daily steps, it's a lot. They have a daily chat that I also support. And then also being an entrepreneur with running my own successful online business, I also delegate a lot of tasks, outsourcing, if you're familiar with that. Yeah. So explaining what I need to get done clearly and effectively so that a person can understand what I'm speaking about it and do it exactly the way that I want, but then also add their own spin to it. That's also part of it. And obviously my favorite part is creating courses and projects and educational materials. It is all part of running my own business and being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Such a fun word. Fun fact, I remember in 5th grade, and I talked about this in my previous podcast, but I had a friend ask me, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I didn't even know what entrepreneur really meant. I just knew that it was a person who worked for themselves. So ever since I was 11 years old, I knew I wanted to work for myself. How cool is that? And now I do. And successfully so. 3, I am a singer-songwriter. I have released 1 song in my whole life, which I'm so proud of. I actually did it in 1 take. You can listen to it. It's called Alex by Vera. Available on all platforms. 1 take song, and it was my vision entirely. I reached out to my sister's guitar teacher for the guitar. I found a mixer, so that song was not mastered, by the way, and I had a very specific vision, so I made that come to life. I'm actually working on my 2nd song right now. I'll admit there's a lot going on in my life right now, especially with content creation and with the business, so it's not my biggest focus right now, but I'm still a singer-songwriter, and I practice music as much as I absolutely can. I sing, I play guitar, and I play piano. And if you play any instruments, let me know in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, or DM me, or do both, because I would love to chat with you. 4th, I am an actress. That came in kind of recently, but I really love acting. I'm passionate about it. I submit to auditions. I feel like I'm good at it, honestly. I don't know. I feel like I have like a very creative side to me, which I like exploring. And acting is definitely something I want to focus on, especially for this summer. 5th, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a cousin, so forth and so on. Actually, something you should know about me is that family really does come number 1 to me. In anything and everything I do, I will always choose my family, and I always put my family first, and I really prioritize time with my family. That is so important to me, personally. Humbly, objectively. And 6, I'm also a friend, which means I have a social life, and I also have a romantic life. Something you should also know about me is that I absolutely love going on dates and getting to know new people. Even in my most busiest moments, I always make sure that I spend time with new people, getting to know new people on dates. It's such a fun part of self-growth, and I really want to make a whole separate podcast on this because I feel like going on dates, especially when you're young, is so important for a multitude of reasons. I'm very passionate about it, clearly. That's something I do. Also, obviously, spending time with friends, super important to me. And then networking, getting to know new people in the professional sphere, outside of it, just overall. Social life, super important. I never cut it out, ever. I used to, but not anymore. Launch to success with Vera V. Now, it is time for the first time management principle. Quote, we don't have time, we have priorities. This is actually said by a member, Natalia, if you're listening to this, hello, of my amazing Growing Together Club during this meeting, because we have weekly meetings in the club. And she was like, you know what, I realized that we don't have time, we have priorities. And that really stuck with me. And I've been thinking about it the whole day since, because that is the absolute truth. Think about how many times you yourself have said, oh, I don't have time for this. Oh, I don't have time for that. Or how many times you've heard a person say like, oh, I don't have time for this. I know I'm guilty of this because I say it kind of all the time. Let me provide you an example. Imagine you are seeing a person. They're great. You're great. They seem to like you. You obviously like them. You see potential with them. You see a future with them. And then they ask you out to dinner. And then they sit you down and they say, hey, we need to talk. And you're like, all right. And usually when somebody says that, you know, something is a little bit off. And they say, you know, you're really great. I love spending time with you. I think you're amazing, but I'm not looking for a relationship right now. You know what they forgot to add in that little phrase? With you. I'm not looking for a relationship with you. And that may sound really harsh, but I think in my opinion, it is just direct. And personally, I like directness. I do not like the sugarcoating. But that is the same exact thing as when you're like, oh, I don't have time. Remember to add that part for this. Or I don't have time for you. Which brings me to this point. If you do not have time for something, chances are it's just not a priority to you right now. And that is okay. I think we go through life thinking about things that we think we have to do way too much than the things that actually matter to us. Now, you know what time it is. It is time for Vera's Value 1. And Vera's Value is a practical tool that I'm sharing with you because as much as theory is important, once again, you can know all the theory, you can know all the practical tools and stuff, but if you do not actually apply it, then how are you ever going to grow? How are you ever going to reach your fullest potential, Gen Z or Gen V? Actually, somebody from our community gave, I guess, you that nickname. So from now on, no more Gen Z. It's Gen V. Let's go. And Gen V successful. So for Vera's Value, what I want you to do is you're going to make a table. And this is called the Eisenhower Matrix if you want to look it up. Essentially, if you're watching this in video, you can really see what I'm doing. But if you're not watching this in video and you're listening to this, then imagine one vertical line, one horizontal line. It is just like a four square, or what's it called? I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. The Eisenhower Matrix, it has two scales. It has the scale of importance and it has the scale of urgency. Now, let me break this down for you. What is importance? Important things are things that are just important to you. They may not have deadlines, but it's just something that you value. For example, something important to me is family. It absolutely is. It is number one in my life. Now, regarding the urgency scale, what is urgency? Urgency are, well, things that are literally urgent, like deadlines, things that you need to get done, even though they may not always be super important. With the Eisenhower Matrix, it has the 4 quadrants, right? One quadrant, the top left one, is when something is both urgent and important to you. And then we have, if you move one over to the right, and I'm really trying to visualize this as I'm speaking, it is something that is urgent but not important to you. You move one down, okay, we're following. You move one down, it is not important, not urgent, and then you move one to the left, it is not urgent and important. If I mess this up, just look at the image and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So regarding Vera's Value, what I want you to do is organize your upcoming weekly tasks into the Eisenhower Matrix and really be honest with yourself here, because it is super easy to be like, well, everything's super urgent and super important to me. But to find out what is really urgent and important to you, think about this. If you do not get it done this week, if you do not get it done by Sunday or whenever it is that you're listening to this, will your life absolutely crumble? If not, it's not as urgent or important as you think, and that is okay. Really, really, really focus on the things that are not important and not urgent. And those are the things that you cross off your to-do list, because if something's not a priority to you right now or in general, that is okay. Embrace that. Allow for that to be. Give that space. Not everything has to be super important or urgent to you all the time. It is okay for things to not be a priority. Embrace that. Truly acknowledge that. For me, for example, there are a lot of things that I'm focusing on in my life, right? But some things are more important and urgent than others. Something I'm really focusing is my business. So that means being a creator and being an entrepreneur. Something that's not as important to me right now is music, for example. As much as I love it, as important it is to me, it is not as urgent. So it falls down a little bit on priority list. It's still there. It is still a priority, but it's not as high up as it used to be. And that is okay. Because guess what? Life has its seasons. Embrace them. Live in them. Things cannot be static all the time. Because here's the truth, we're not robots. We're not robots, we're human. And I think being human is a much cooler thing, in my humble opinion. Now, regarding Vera's Value number 2, with the I don't have time, girl, if you say that you do not have time one more time, let me remind you that you have 86,400 seconds in a day. Now, tell me, are you using 100% of them effectively? Are you using each and every second to its fullest potential? Chances are no. Why? Because once again, we're not robots. We're human. That's fine. That is okay. But something I've implemented and started doing recently, and I really recommend this, is there's this app, it's called Toggle. It is actually, I think, for billable hours in your day. If you, for example, are a lawyer or something and you need to know how much you're going to be charging for the project, I guess. I don't really know how law works that in depth, but you get what I'm saying. So something I started doing with the app Toggle, it is completely free, is I started literally toggling my day, really tracking to see how I use my time and in what ways I use it. And I was actually surprised. And here's the thing, why this is a Vera's Value. And obviously, if you're not driving, you cannot start this immediately. But what you can do is make a mental note of it or send yourself a message via Siri to be like, download the Toggle app and actually do it. Because also when you're tracking time like that, I've personally noticed myself become a lot more productive with it. And I began using it a lot more mindfully. It's kind of the same thing where if you're trying to get something done, but maybe you're like in a little bit of a mental fuzz, just start speaking things aloud. Like, I'm walking right now. I am sitting down on this chair. I'm turning my microphone on and I'm recording this podcast. I'm speaking. And you'll notice yourself becoming a lot more present. That's just the way it works. So try time tracking. It would absolutely change your life. And Toggle, it's a free app. This is not sponsored. I'm just speaking about it because I absolutely love it. Principle 2, to do or not to do is a conscious choice that takes the same amount of energy. When I realized this absolutely shifted my outlook on everything. Absolutely on everything. Because what really changes your life is that moment when you start taking full responsibility for it. In life, it is so easy to blame other people for not getting things done or for not having quote unquote enough time for this or for that. But truth is, it is a choice that you make to do or not to do. That is the question. It's not to be or not to be. It is to do or not to do. What are you choosing right now? I saw this video actually by Sophia Sapiens on Instagram. I follow her. She's actually a friend, which I'm so excited about. And she made this funny video. She was like, I watched 100 TED Talks and here's what I learned. Go back to what you were doing. Which shocked me a little bit. I was like, wow, calling me out right now. But genuinely, most of the success, time management, self-growth principles, they all speak about one thing. Just do it. Just get it done. Now, there are different psychological tactics and practical tools and steps arriving there, but essentially, it all remains the same. Just do it. Whatever it is that you want to do, just do it. And here's another piece to this. Think about the amount of mental energy you're wasting while you're procrastinating. For me, for example, it is currently 7:32 p.m. I procrastinated recording this podcast episode and outlining it for the past 7 hours. And let me tell you, mentally, before I turned on the microphone, I felt drained. I was so tired. And just 7 hours ago, just getting up and recording the episode, it would have made a world of difference because I would not be as tired right now. Because when we're procrastinating doing something, not only are we delaying the activity, but then also, if you're anything like me, you're also like, well, why am I delaying this? Does that mean I'm a lazy person? Does that mean blah, blah, blah? And you start all this mental negative fluff spiral thing that also takes away a lot of energy. So whatever it is that you're thinking of doing, that you want to do, just get it done. There's no other way to say this. Just get it done. But this is time for Vera's value, all right? Because once again, that point of getting it done, there are multiple ways of arriving here. And here's one of my favorite ones. Vera's value number 3, the 5-second rule. It is originally established by Mel Robbins. Think of something that you have to do right now. Whatever that activity is, really solidify for yourself. Now, to stop procrastinating, what you're going to do is count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now get up and do it. As simple as that. If you're waking up in the morning and you're also the kind of person who likes to snooze, which is something I got into lately. I was never that kind of person, but now I am. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get up and go. Do not snooze that alarm. Just go. And if that's not your favorite tool, that's completely fine because guess what? There's another Vera's value, number 4. That's something I've been doing all the time recently. And it's funny because that Vera's value is taking away the value of the activity that you're doing. For example, last night I was at this event, Instagram X VidCon, the Instagram after party that I told you about, right? And my goal was to approach and to get the names of 10 people, which may sound easy, but for me, I love talking to people. I love getting to know new people. I'm great at conversations, or at least I like to believe. Let me know if you've experienced otherwise. But something that I really struggle with is approaching people. I have never really done that in public. Like, okay, in other events and other settings, it's kind of easier because obviously you know why you're here to network. But just generally in public, I've only approached a person like maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. Just typically never, ever, ever, ever. So before going to the event, to make it easier for myself and being the life coach I am, I set myself a goal. I was like, okay, by the end of the night, 10 new names. And I did just that. And how did I do it? Well, first of all, something else you should know about me is I tend to care a lot about what people think. Just by nature, that's kind of the person I am. I'm very mentally anxious. I can be. I'm a big overthinker. My brain is big and beautiful, but it does not stop thinking, like ever, which is good for some parts, but sometimes I would just love for it to chill out. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. Just maybe for a moment or two. Just my meditation is honestly great for me. But that's the point. So when meeting new people, instead of being like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think of me? Oh my gosh, what are they going to say? What are they going to tell their friends? Or what if they don't like me? What if they look at me weird? I was just like, what am I going to do really? I'm going to walk up, move my little feet, stand next to them, find something to compliment them about, and just start saying words out of my mouth. How easy is that? That is so much simpler than me like, oh, I have to get to know 10 new people. I took the value of the activity away and it made the activity so much easier. With this podcast episode, for example, the one I procrastinated, the one you're listening to right now, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm releasing a new podcast episode that sets the tone of my content for the next week and then I have to do all these things, following up and cutting out little snips and bits? Is that even a word? Bits, right? Bits, I think. I've been talking for way too long now. Snips and bits. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's it. I'm never saying that word again. Instead, what I should have done in that moment, once again, it is something I'm working on, it's just been like, okay, all I have to do is turn my camera on, turn my microphone on, set up the light, turn the computer on, start recording, and that is it. Just start speaking. That is it. How much simpler is that versus being like, oh, I have to record a whole podcast episode and do this and do that and do this. Take away the value of whatever it is that you have to do. It's going to help you. Trust me. 3, when you're tired, learn to rest, not to quit. I believe that is a quote by Banksy, and it was actually on the wall of my homeroom teacher classroom, which if you do not live in America, it's kind of a foreign concept, like homeroom. It's a wild thing to me too. I'm not from America, so, but I grew up here, but it's quite strange. But basically, I feel like especially on social media, if you look at business gurus and creators, it seems like they're doing so much, but they're not really getting tired. And honestly, it's kind of a natural thing because social media is a highlight reel. For me personally, as a creator, one of my missions is to make it as authentic as possible. I really try to show all the sides of the coin, right, with you and just really share that. But I'm not going to be like, hey guys, welcome to another 14-hour day in my life where I'm spending 13 of them behind a computer and then other hours spending on my phone because I'm editing videos. That's boring. People go on social media for fun. So it makes sense. But just remember that there is not a single person in this world who does not get tired. Unless maybe babies don't get tired. But I think even they do when they start to walk and talk. It's kind of a frustrating process. Falling down, getting up all over again, falling down, getting up all over again, and then eventually they learn. Honestly, that was kind of inspiring. I did not expect that out of myself, but wow. Babies are very inspiring. Okay, but that's beside the point. That's a topic for another podcast episode. Point is, it is okay to get tired, even if you're doing something that you absolutely love that brings you joy. It is okay. It is okay to feel burnt out at times. The most important thing is that you catch that feeling in the moment in which it is happening to prevent that from spreading further. The reason why we get so tired doing so many different things is because we're not truly present in each and every single moment. We do not find that state of flow. And the state of flow that I'm talking about is when it feels like time is just not there. Like you're just doing an activity that brings you so much joy, or maybe just something that's super interesting to you, and you do not feel time passing. You're not thinking about anything else. You're just truly present in each and every single moment. Personally, that state of flow is something that I really try to bring into my life, and I really want to live with the flow. So yes, it is okay to get tired. It is normal to get tired. I get tired. In fact, I'm tired right now. But something that I always tell myself is pushing through when I'm tired and continuing to go instead of quitting. That's what separates me from everybody else. And here's another thing. I personally am not a fan of like the whole competition thing of like, oh, it's me versus everybody else. Personally, I think it's not even me versus me. It's me working with myself to reach my fullest potential and reach my goals. But that's just my little mindset on this. But the reality of things is that no matter what sphere of life it is that you're in, no matter where you want to go, there's always competition in it. Most people, when they get tired, they quit. Don't be that person. Keep going. And here's the most important part, which brings me to Vera's value number 5. Find the way that you recharge the most effectively. Because remember, you cannot drive a car in an empty tank. You cannot sip from an empty cup. Otherwise, you would just be sipping air. You don't want to sip air. You want to sip tea. The drama. Just kidding. I'm not talking about drama right now. But if I do that episode on dating, there definitely will be some. I'm so excited for it already. Let me know if you want to see it. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments, because genuinely I'm curious. So for Vera's value number 5, you can do this no matter what it is that you're doing. But think about this. After which 3 activities do you feel the most rejuvenated and the most recharged? This is a topic we're covering in my Growing Together Club right now. It's actually the last week of it. But it is recharging your life effectively. Because here's the thing. A book I recommend is The Power of Rest. It is written by a great author. I forget the name of, sorry. But he's an MD and it was all backed by research. But basically, there are different parts to rest. You may think rest is just sleeping, and sleep is a big part of it. But there's also physical rest and other components of it besides sleep. There's mental rest, emotional rest, social rest, and even spiritual rest. And with resting, it does not have to be static. Actually, what the author says in that book, The Power of Rest, is the most effective rest is the one that is active, the one that you can do right now. So think about this right now. After which activities do you feel the most recharged? For me, for example, I feel always just the most rejuvenated ever after spending time with my family. Because my dad, for example, is super inspiring. I love talking to him. Anytime I need like a little pick-me-up or a little boost or a little kick in the ass, for lack of a better word, he is always there. He paints me like a picture of my future 5-10 years from now, no matter if it's not even that realistic. But afterwards, I'm always like, yeah, I'm ready to take on the world. That's social rest. Also, when I am meeting new people, when I am going on dates, afterwards, even if it is a bad date, I still feel very relaxed because I'm doing a different sort of activity that I'm typically used to. You know what I mean? That's also social rest. Spiritual rest can look like meditations. Mental rest can look like this one technique, which I guess could be Vera's value 6, a little bit unexpected, but it's called self-hypnosis. Basically what you do is you sit down, you close your eyes, and then you look up, and then you just take deep breaths. Obviously, do not do this while you're driving. Yeah, we want to stay safe on the roads. But if you're just listening to this, then I recommend that you do this. And we actually learned this in my Growing Together Club as well, the online self-improvement community. So when you're tired, learn to rest, not to quit. It is okay to be tired, but it is not okay to quit unless it does not fall into your priorities anymore. And as you learned here today, it is okay. It is okay for your priorities to shift and change because guess what? It's just a new season of life, baby. Embrace it. Launch to success with Vera V. As we wrap up this episode, I want to share this. Reflection is the most important part of the learning process. You can listen to all the self-help, self-growth, business podcasts in the world, read all the books, do all the research, but if you do not apply the information you learn, you will never grow. You will never reach your fullest potential. If you do not reflect, you cannot move forward. So let's do just that right now. If you're listening to this on Spotify, if you scroll down just a tad, once again, if you're not driving, then there's a question. Answer that question purely for yourself so that you can grow. And if you're unable to do so, then just answer this for yourself right now. What is the top thing that you learned in this podcast? And what is the first and simplest step that you can do right now to apply that top thing into your life, to continue improving with it and growing and glowing and slaying? Now that you've done that, send this episode to a friend that you know will benefit from this episode. Time management and effective time management is such an important topic. You know this and I know this. So let's help each other out because remember, successful people are reaching their full potential and inspiring others to do the same. Thank you for listening. New episodes come out every single Monday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave it a review, whatever it is. 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, hopefully 5. But your opinion really matters to me. So thank you. And remember, we're growing together always. Your success coach, Vera, out. Launch to success with Vera V.